There is a reason you are hearing this right now. It is not by chance, and it is certainly not a coincidence of the algorithm. You have been feeling it in your spirit for weeks, perhaps even months. A nagging heaviness in your chest when you think of him. A sudden thought that wakes you up at 3:00 a.m., urging you to pray, even when you don't know exactly what to pray for. You have looked into his eyes recently, and while he smiled, that smile didn't reach his soul. You saw a flicker of something else, exhaustion, fear, or perhaps a profound emptiness that terrified you. You asked him, "How are you?" And he gave you the standard rehearsed answer, "I'm fine, everything is good." And you wanted to believe him. You desperately wanted to believe that the silence following his laughter was just peace, not a void. But your spirit knows better. A mother knows. A father knows. The connection between a parent and a child is not just biological. It is spiritual, a cord that stretches across time and distance, vibrating when one end is under tension. Today, we are going to pull back the veil on what is actually happening. This is a divine intervention concerning your son. He is walking through a valley that he has not told you about. He is carrying a burden so heavy that it threatens to break his spirit. And the most heartbreaking part is that he is doing it to protect you. Attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life. A guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you. And strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10 Zuru readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you who are tired of living in the fog. Ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment. He believes that his silence is an act of love. He believes that by shielding you from his reality, he is being strong. But heaven is intervening today because he cannot carry this alone any longer. Before we go any deeper into this revelation, I need you to take a moment to center yourself. This message might be difficult to hear, but it is the medicine required for the healing that is about to take place. If you are ready to stand in the gap for your son, if you are ready to be the sanctuary he needs, I invite you to like this video right now. It's a small gesture, but it signals your readiness to receive this truth. And if you haven't already, join our community by subscribing. We are building a fortress of prayer and understanding here, and your presence strengthens us all. Let's talk about the mask. In our culture, particularly in the West, men are conditioned from a very young age to equate silence with strength. We teach them that vulnerability is a crack in the armor, a liability. Your son has learned this lesson well, perhaps too well. He's navigating a private torment. This could be financial debt that has spiraled out of control, a relationship that is quietly crumbling behind closed doors, a professional failure he is too ashamed to admit, or a battle with mental health that he doesn't have the vocabulary to explain. Science tells us that when a human being suppresses high levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, it doesn't just disappear. It sinks into the body. It affects the nervous system, the sleep patterns, the digestion. You might have noticed he looks tired, that his skin has lost its color, or that he seems distracted, constantly checking his phone, but never really seeing what's on the screen. These are the physical manifestations of a spiritual battle. He is terrified of disappointing you. That is the secret at the core of his silence. He looks at you and he sees the person who sacrificed for him, the person who prayed for him, and the idea of bringing his chaos into your world feels like a betrayal. He thinks he is saving you from worry, but in reality, he is denying you the opportunity to be his mother, to be his father in the way he needs most right now. He is trying to fix a spiritual problem with human logic, and it is draining him dry. But here is the shift I need you to make in your mind right now. This struggle he is in, it is not a punishment. It is not a sign that he has failed or that you have failed as a parent. This is a preparation. Think of Joseph in the ancient texts. Before Joseph could stand in the palace as a ruler, he had to survive the pit. He was thrown into a hole in the ground, betrayed, isolated, and stripped of his coat of many colors. To the outside world, Joseph looked like a failure. He looked like he was finished, but in the eyes of the divine, Joseph was in the furnace of transformation. The pit was necessary to forge the character required to carry the weight of the palace. Your son is in his pit right now. The heat is turned up high, the pressure is immense, but this is not the end of his story. It is the beginning of his testimony. The enemy wants you to believe that this crisis is the conclusion, that his potential is being wasted. That is a lie. This is the refining fire. But even Joseph couldn't stay in the pit forever. He needed intervention. He needed the hand of God to move the pieces of his life. You might be asking, what can I do? If I ask him, he shuts down. If I push, he pulls away. This is where most parents make a critical mistake, and I want to save you from this right now. The natural instinct when we see our children in pain is to fix it. We want to offer solutions. We want to say, have you tried this? Or you should do that. We want to pay the debt, call the doctor, fix the relationship. We want to be the mechanic of their lives. But right now, your son does not need a mechanic. He needs a sanctuary. When you offer a solution before he has offered his vulnerability, he hears judgment. When you say, you should do X, he hears, you are failing at X. His ego is already bruised. His spirit is already tender. Unsolicited advice feels like sandpaper on an open wound. The solution is not in your words, it is in your presence. This is a psychological principle known as co-regulation. When you are calm, steady, and grounded, your nervous system communicates safety to his nervous system without a single word being spoken. You become a safe harbor where he can drop the anchor of his anxiety. I'm going to reveal a specific way to approach him in a moment, a method that breaks through the walls of defense without triggering a fight. But before I do, I want to ask you a question. Are you operating out of faith, or are you operating out of fear? Because your son can smell your fear. If you approach him with panic in your eyes, he will retreat further to protect you from his reality. He needs to see that you are not afraid of his darkness. He needs to see that you believe in his ability to overcome this, even when he doesn't believe it himself. If this is resonating with you, if you realize you've been approaching him with anxiety instead of authority, type, I am his sanctuary, in the comments below. Let that be your declaration today. Here is how you break the silence. You stop asking what is wrong, and you start creating an environment where the truth can surface on its own. Invite him over, not for a talk, but for a meal, for a walk, for a moment of shared existence. And when you are together, do not pry, do not interrogate. Instead, offer your own vulnerability. This is the key that unlocks the door. Say something like, I've been feeling a bit overwhelmed lately myself. Life feels heavy sometimes. When you lower your shield, you give him permission to lower his. You are modeling that it is safe not to be okay. And then listen. Listen to the silence. Listen to what he doesn't say. If he drops a hint, a small crumb of truth like, yeah, work has been crazy, do not jump on it with advice. Do not say you should quit that job. Instead, simply validate. Say, that sounds exhausting. I can see why you'd be tired. That's it. Validation is the water to a thirsty soul. It tells him, I see you, I hear you. I'm not trying to change you, I'm just with you. This builds trust. It rebuilds the bridge that shame has burned down. There is a spiritual dimension to this that we cannot ignore. While you are being a sanctuary in the physical realm, you must be a warrior in the spiritual realm. This is where the battle is won. Your son is fighting a battle for his destiny. The enemy attacks those who have a great purpose. If he were insignificant, he would be left alone. The intensity of the attack is proof of the magnitude of his calling. You must pray for him, but not prayers of worry. Prayers of worry are just fear disguised as religion. You must pray prayers of victory. You must declare over his life that no weapon formed against him shall prosper. You must visualize him not as he is, broken and tired, but as he will be, whole, strong and purposeful. Imagine him standing tall. Imagine the light returning to his eyes. Hold that image in your mind when you pray. This is called intercession. You are holding the vision of his future until he is strong enough to hold it for himself. You are the placeholder of his hope. I know this is hard. I know you want to rush in and save him, but remember the butterfly. If you cut the cocoon open to help the butterfly emerge, its wings will never develop the strength they need to fly. The struggle is part of the strengthening. Your role is to protect the cocoon, not to cut it open. Your role is to ensure the environment around him is safe, loving, and filled with faith, so that he can do the internal work he needs to do. He is terrified that if he shows you his mess, you will love him less. You need to communicate through your actions and your energy that there is nothing he can do, no mistake he can make, no debt he can incur that will ever change your love for him. This is the unconditional love of the Creator flowing through you. It is the only force powerful enough to dissolve shame. As we move toward the end of this message, I want to give you a warning. The next few weeks might be volatile. As you change your approach, as you stop pushing and start holding space, he might react with confusion. He might test you. He might pull away to see if you will chase him with panic again. Stand your ground. Remain the sanctuary. Do not revert to the old patterns of anxiety and control. Trust the process. Trust that the seeds you are planting, seeds of acceptance, patience, and silent strength, are taking root, even if you don't see the sprout yet. And understand this: his testimony is coming. One day, he will tell the story of this time. He will tell people about the darkness he felt, and he will tell them about the parent who didn't judge him, who didn't try to fix him, but who simply sat with him in the dark until the light returned. He will use this pain to help others. He will have a depth of empathy and wisdom that can only be earned through suffering. This burden he is carrying, it will become his platform. It will become the very thing that qualifies him to lead others. You are his partner in this, but you are not his savior. There is only one savior, and he is already working on your son's heart in ways you cannot see. Your job is to align yourself with that divine work. Release your timeline. Healing does not happen on a schedule. It happens in seasons. This is winter for him, but spring is inevitable. I want you to take a deep breath right now. Release the tension in your shoulders. Release the grip of fear on your heart. You have done the best you could with the knowledge you had. Now you have new knowledge. Now you have a new strategy. Walk in it. Be the lighthouse, steady and bright amidst his storm. The lighthouse doesn't run into the waves to save the ship. It stands firm on the rock and shines the light so the ship can find its own way home. Be the lighthouse. If this message has touched your spirit, if you feel a shift in your perspective, please share this video. There are millions of parents walking in the same shadow, terrified for their silent sons. Help us reach them. Help us spread this message of hope and strategy. And before you go, leave a comment below with your son's first name. You don't need to say anything else, just his name. We will lift him up as a community. There is power in numbers, and there is power in agreement. Remember, the veil has been lifted not to scare you, but to prepare you. You are strong enough to handle this truth, and he is strong enough to overcome this trial. The silence will break. The smile will become real again, and the man who emerges from this fire will be stronger than the boy who entered it. Stay strong, stay faithful, and never forget that you are not fighting this battle alone. We are with you, and more importantly, the divine is with you. Until next time, keep your light burning. The journey of parenting an adult child is perhaps the most complex spiritual assignment we are given. When they are small, we can pick them up, kiss the scrape on their knee, and make the world right again with a cookie and a hug. But now, the scrapes are on their souls, and the monsters are not under the bed. They are in their bank accounts, their marriages, their careers, and their own minds. It requires a completely different set of spiritual muscles to parent a grown man who is hurting. It requires the muscle of restraint, the muscle of faith, the muscle of silence. Let's go deeper into the why. Why is this happening now? We are living in a time of unprecedented pressure. The definitions of success have become impossible to sustain. The digital age has created a landscape where everyone is broadcasting their highlights while hiding their struggles. Your son is scrolling through feeds of people who seem to be richer, happier, and more successful than he is. He compares his internal reality with their external illusion, and he feels like a failure. This creates a dissonance, a vibration of inadequacy that hums in the background of his life every single day. He feels he is falling behind. He feels he hasn't achieved what he should have achieved by this age. This pressure cooker creates what psychologists call shame-based isolation. Shame is different from guilt. Guilt says, I did something bad. Shame says, I am bad. When a man feels shame, his biological imperative is to hide. He withdraws to the cave. This is primal. It goes back to the days when a wounded hunter was a liability to the tribe. He would hide his wound to avoid being left behind. Your son is hiding his wound because he fears being seen as weak, defective, or unworthy of your pride. But here is the beautiful truth. You don't love him for his trophies. You don't love him for his paycheck. You don't love him for his title. You love him because he is yours. You love him because you saw his first breath and you would give your last breath for him. But does he know that? Does he really know that? Or does he think your love is tied to his performance? This is the conversation you need to have with yourself. Have I inadvertently communicated that his worth is tied to his achievements? It's a hard question, but an honest one. We often do this without meaning to. We brag about their promotions, their degrees, their new cars. We beam with pride when they succeed, but do we beam with love when they fail? Do we celebrate their character as much as their career? This is your opportunity to rewrite that narrative. In this season of his struggle, you have the chance to show him a love that is completely detached from his output. A love that says, I love you when you are broke. I love you when you are confused. I love you when you are lost. That kind of love is transformative. It is the only thing that can melt the shame that is keeping him in the dark. I want to give you a specific phrase to use. It's a micro reward for his soul. Next time you see him or talk to him, find a moment to say this. I was thinking about you today, and I just remembered how kind you were to mention a specific memory from his past. Maybe how he treated a sibling or a pet or a stranger. I just wanted to tell you that I admire your heart. Notice what you did there. You praised his being, not his doing. You praised his heart, not his hustle. You reminded him that he is a good man, regardless of his current circumstances. This bypasses the shame filter. It goes straight to the core of his identity. It reminds him of who he was before the world told him who he had to be. Let's talk about the cliffhanger in his life. He feels like he is standing on the edge. He feels like one wrong move and everything collapses. This is a terrifying place to be. It creates a tunnel vision where he can only see the danger, not the rescue. Your role is to widen his view. You do this not by denying the danger, but by pointing out the solid ground he is still standing on. You are that solid ground. His family is that solid ground. There is a concept in spirituality called holding the watch. In ancient times, watchmen would stand on the city walls at night while the city slept. They stayed awake so others could rest. Your son is exhausted. He hasn't slept, truly slept, in a long time because he is keeping watch over his own anxieties. He needs you to hold the watch for a while. He needs to know that he can crash, he can fall apart, and you will be there to catch the pieces. You won't judge the pieces. You will just hold them until he is ready to put them back together. But be careful. There is a trap here. The trap is making his pain about you. It is easy to fall into the victim mindset. Why won't he talk to me? Doesn't he trust me? I feel so shut out. If you go down that road, you make yourself the center of the story. You add guilt to his shame. He is already carrying the world. Do not ask him to carry your emotional neediness too. You must process your own fears, your own hurt feelings, with your partner, your friend, or your God. Do not process them with your son. To him, you must be a pillar. A pillar does not lean, it supports. This requires immense strength. It requires you to be a spiritual warrior. You might cry in your prayer closet, you might scream in your car, but when you stand before him, you are calm. You are the eye of the storm. This is the greatest gift a parent can give an adult child, a non-anxious presence. I want to address the fathers listening to this. Your role is unique. A son looks to his father for validation of his manhood. If you are a father, your silence can be interpreted as disappointment. Your son needs to hear your voice. He needs to hear you say, I am proud of the man you are. Not the businessman, not the athlete, the man. If you have had a strained relationship, if there is distance between you, bridge it now. Not with a lecture, but with a hand on his shoulder. A physical touch from a father to a son can communicate more than 1,000 sermons. It transfers strength. It says, you are of my blood, and you have my strength. And to the mothers, your instinct is to nurture, to feed, to warm. Trust that instinct, but adapt it. He doesn't need you to cut his meat for him anymore, but he needs you to nourish his spirit. Send him a text that says, no pressure to reply, just wanted you to know I'm in your corner today. That's it. No questions, no demands, just presence. It's like leaving a lamp on in the window. He might not come home tonight, but he sees the light. He knows the door is unlocked. The turning point is coming. I can feel it as I speak these words. There is a shift happening in the atmosphere. The heavy cloud that has been hovering over his head is beginning to break. The conversations you are going to have in the coming months will be different. They will be deeper. The superficial I'm fine is going to be replaced by Mom, Dad, I'm struggling. And when that moment comes, and it will come, you must be ready. Do not gasp, do not panic, do not say, oh my God, that's terrible. Instead, lean in, look him in the eye and say, thank you for telling me, I am here. We will figure this out, or we will just sit in it together, but you are not alone. That is the sentence that breaks the curse of isolation. You are not alone. It sounds simple, but it is the most powerful exorcism of fear in the human language. We are building a movement here. A movement of parents who refuse to let the world devour their children. A movement of parents who understand that the battle is not against flesh and blood, but against the spiritual forces of despair and isolation. You are part of this army. As we prepare to close this transmission, I want to leave you with a challenge. For the next 7 days, I want you to fast from criticism. Not just toward your son, but toward everything. Do not criticize the weather, the news, the traffic, and especially not your child. Replace every critical thought with a blessing. If you catch yourself worrying about him, flip the script immediately. Say out loud, he is guided, he is protected, he is loved. Change the frequency of your home. Your son is sensitive to energy. If your home vibrates with faith and peace, he will be drawn to it like a moth to a flame. If it vibrates with worry and judgment, he will stay away. Make your home a magnet. This is about him, but it is also about you. It is about your evolution as a soul. You are learning to love without control. You are learning to trust the divine with the most precious thing in your life. This is the ultimate test of faith, and you are passing it. You are here, listening to this, seeking wisdom. That proves you are passing it. Your son is going to be okay, better than okay. He is going to be magnificent. The burden he is carrying is carving out a reservoir in his soul that will one day be filled with joy, wisdom, and compassion. The deeper the sorrow carves into his being, the more joy he can contain. This is the law of the universe. So wipe your tears, stand up straight, put on the armor of faith. You have a job to do. You are the sanctuary, you are the watchman, you are the lighthouse. Go now and love him with the quiet, steady, unbreakable power of a parent who knows that the story is not over yet. The best chapters are yet to be written, and they will be written together. This is a sacred promise. Believe it, receive it, walk in it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring enough to listen. The breakthrough is already in motion. Watch for the signs. They will be small at first, but they will grow. A genuine smile, a longer phone call, a moment of eye contact. These are the first flowers of spring breaking through the snow. Harvest is coming. Peace be with you and with your house and with your son. However, peace is not a passive state. It is an active weapon, and you must understand that the moment you decide to adopt this new frequency of peace, the old reality is going to fight back. This is what psychologists call an extinction burst, and in spiritual terms, we call it the resistance of the ego. I need you to listen very closely to what I am about to say, because if you are not prepared for this, you will think this method is failing when, in fact, it is the ultimate sign that it is working. When you stop feeding the dynamic of conflict, when you stop chasing, nagging, or projecting worry, the energy system of your relationship will undergo a shock. Your son is used to the old dance. He steps back, you chase. He acts out, you lecture. Even though he says he hates it, it is familiar to him. It is a known territory. When you stop playing your part, he will subconsciously try to pull you back into the drama. He might do something specifically designed to trigger your old reactions. He might ignore a text for 3 days instead of 1. He might make a comment that he knows pushes your buttons. Do not take the bait. This is the universe testing your resolve. It is asking, do you really trust or are you just pretending? If you react with the old anger or the old fear, you reset the clock. You reinforce the very behavior you are trying to change. But if you hold your ground, if you stay in that place of, I love you, I trust you, and I'm not engaging in chaos, the old pattern will shatter. It has to. It cannot survive without your participation. This is the law of entropy applied to relationships. Disorder requires energy to maintain. Starve the disorder, and order must return. Let's go deeper into the science of this, because I want your logical mind to be as satisfied as your heart. We need to talk about the observer effect in quantum physics. Simply put, the act of observing a particle changes its behavior. When you look at your son and you see a problem, when you look at him and see failure or addiction or laziness, you are collapsing his quantum potential into that specific reality. You are energetically holding him in that state. Your worry is a form of negative visualization. It is a prayer for what you do not want. Every time you lie awake at night, imagining the worst-case scenario, you are investing emotional currency into a future you are trying to avoid. You must stop this immediately. This is not just positive thinking, this is quantum mechanics. You must begin to observe the version of him that does not exist yet in the material world, but exists in the potential. See him standing tall, see him clear-eyed, see him calling you just to say hello. Hold that image with such intensity that it overrides the current reality. I know this is hard. I know the evidence of your eyes tells you he is lost, but faith is the evidence of things not seen. You must be the visionary for his life until he can see it for himself. Now, I want to address a specific pain point that I see in the comments every single day. The issue of bad influences. Maybe it's a partner you don't trust, a group of friends who drag him down, or a lifestyle that terrifies you. You look at these external factors and you want to scream. You want to forbid him, warn him, intervene. Here is the hard truth. You cannot control his environment anymore. If you try to tear him away from his friends or his partner, you will only glue him to them. It is basic psychology, the Romeo and Juliet effect. Opposition fuels desire. The more you attack his choices, the more he feels the need to defend them, and by defending them, he convinces himself he loves them. So what do? You become the alternative. You make your presence, your home, and your energy so high frequency, so warm, and so accepting that the low vibration relationships in his life start to feel uncomfortable by comparison. Light exposes darkness just by being light. You don't have to scream at the darkness, you just have to shine brighter. When he comes to you and feels respected, when he feels heard and not judged, he will go back to those friends, and suddenly their shallowness will be glaring. He will start to see the cracks without you pointing them out. He has to come to that realization on his own. That is the only way it sticks. We are talking about playing the long game here. Most parents are playing checkers, reacting to the immediate move. I am teaching you to play chess. I am teaching you to position yourself. Attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life. A guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you, and strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10 Zuru readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you who are tired of living in the fog. Ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment.